What is up, my fellow film nerds? I'm back to bring you a review of my most anticipated film of the year in Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad was written and directed by David Ayer, the same man who wrote and directed End of Watch and Fury, which were two films that I liked very much. So when I heard Ayer was selected to take on this project, I was satisfied knowing that he had two solid films under his belt as a writer and a director and likely would do justice, no pun intended, to the next chapter in the DC universe. And then along with a promising writer and director in Ayer, came quite an exciting cast with the likes of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, a character that was originally made for the Batman animated series, leaving me very excited to see the character's first live-action on-screen interpretation. Then Jared Leto as the Joker, an actor who is known to immerse himself deeply in his roles and was likely to provide a very fresh and new take on the notorious villain. And Will Smith, who while as of late really hasn't been in very many diverse roles outside of the movie Concussion, is still an always very likable actor in addition to a film. And with such a unique premise, a group of some of the most notorious villains from the DC universe coming together and being forced to fight crime with the Joker thrown in the mix as a wild card, I thought I was going to receive a very dark and grim entry in the DC universe, even darker and grimmer than the first two, with just the right mix of dark comedy with the likes of Harley Quinn and the Joker. I mean, with these names involved for the cast and crew and a premise like that, it should be a spectacular film, right? No, 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 no. I don't remember the last time I walked out of the movie theater feeling this damn disappointed. Suicide Squad was my most anticipated film of the year. I was more excited for this movie than Batman vs. Superman. And unlike the vast majority, I thoroughly enjoyed Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel. I enjoyed both of those films because I felt that they thoroughly explored a grimmer and darker tone of storytelling for comic book films not seen in the Marvel films. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is also a world of stories that I really thoroughly enjoy, firmly believe they have established this pinnacle of immersive storytelling for comic book films. But this being said, it was going to be very hard for DC to come out with their own universe and avoid having it compared to Marvel's. I mean, it was inevitable. But when I heard that people were complaining about Man of Steel in 2013 because of its tone, I was floored. DC and Marvel are distinctively different because of their tone. Let me say that again. DC and Marvel are distinctively different because of their tone. People seem to miss this key distinction. If you want comic book films that are a bit more lighthearted, have more colorful characters, that are going to provide plenty of comedy and one-liners, that's fine. Watch a Marvel film. But please do not expect this same tone going into film that's based on DC comic books. While there are some moments of humor in DC, they're usually few and far between, and the moments of humor naturally fit with the story. I mean, for example, the banter between Bruce Wayne and his butler Alfred Pennyworth. I thought this was captured perfectly in the Dark Knight trilogy. Those films from Christopher Nolan were everything that Batman films should be, and he captured the tone, dark atmosphere that was from the comics. He did this beautifully. And as I said, the only time humor was incorporated was when there were quips between Alfred and Bruce, or when Batman gave an occasional one-liner, like the classic line, "I'm not wearing hockey pants," which while I thought it did tiptoe the line of funny and corny, I felt it worked because that was an aspect of Batman almost always prevalent in the animated show and the older material. The humor wasn't shoehorned in like was so often the case in this film, Suicide Squad. I thought this misconstrued distinction is the starting off point where Suicide Squad goes completely wrong. And it's rumored right now that DC and Warner Brothers were so concerned about the backlash for Batman vs. Superman, a film that I thought was solid and was made even better by the Ultimate Cut, a cut of the film which showed an extra 30 minutes that should have been left in the damn theatrical release. The studio actually went back and did reshoots for Suicide Squad and attempted to change the entirety of the original tone and vision for it based off the backlash concerning the tone in Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. And then audiences and critics' concerns that there was not enough humor and other issues they had with it. So after cutting 30 minutes of footage from Snyder's original version, which received very poor reviews, then re-releasing the original cut on Blu-ray for better reviews, a cut Snyder wanted, WB and DC decided it would be a great idea this time around to completely chop up the whole film, allegedly. And you know how these claims and rumors can be validated? Please watch the very first trailer released for this film. That trailer looked like the dark, creepy, and disturbing movie that we should have received. The next trailer and everyone after that was completely different tonally. Even whole scenes were eliminated from the film that were in the trailer and the ensuing ones. I will link that trailer down in the description. Watch it and tell me if you think that was the film you wanted, because for me it certainly was. Well, if all that is true, which I certainly believe it is, it was the absolute dumbest thing DC and Warner Brothers could have done. I believe a darker tone would have suited this movie. I would have actually been very happy to see an R-rated version, and there are further rumors stating many of the scenes cut were pushing that version of a film, especially scenes with the Joker, which leads me into my next issue. The trailer showcased the Joker as a main character in this film. He is hardly in the damn movie. He may have a total of 15 minutes on screen time for the 2-hour film. I honestly can't give you a very thorough opinion of Leto's performance and his new interpretation of the character, because there was almost not enough there to judge what he did. What we did receive from Leto, I felt, was much different from anything we've ever seen from the Joker. While Nicholson was a dark, cartoon-like gangster version of the Joker, and Ledger was this kind of disturbing portrait of the anarchist side of him, this cold and calculating Joker with a slight edge of dark humor, Leto was almost flat out crazy. It was like he twisted those two performances, the gangster and creepy sides, and then wrapped it with this cartoon-esque personality from the animated show, and then splashed himself with liquefied Hot Topic. And I actually kind of liked it. At times it was weird and made me feel uncomfortable. But the Joker should do that. He should get under your skin. But we hardly saw it. Some of the absolute best scenes in the movie were the backstory between the Joker and Harley Quinn, which were carelessly thrown about randomly into this movie as flashbacks. Now that brings me to Margot Robbie. I still don't know how I feel about her interpretation of Harley Quinn. I thought she nailed the crazy, careless, and silliness the character emitted in the animated show, but at times she also leaned toward being slightly annoying and over the top. And my God, was her outfit stupid. Could you just show off more of her ass cheeks? I mean, come on. There's one scene where she's wearing the outfit that her character wore in the animated show, and it's brief. They really should have went with that instead of her ridiculously revealing Hot Topic Barbie doll outfit. The two best characters, in my opinion, in this film, because they received the most screen time, are Deadshot and Amanda Waller, played by Will Smith and Viola Davis respectively. And actually, Waller by the end was still kind of mysterious, but even Deadshot, who was given the most backstory, seemed to have his backstory shoved forcefully and quickly into the plot of this movie. And here comes my next point. The plot. What a mess. The villain is absolutely, ridiculously stupid and completely uninteresting. At least I felt General Zod and Lex Luthor in the previous two DC entries had clear motivations. And the Enchantress, for me, simply is mad that she isn't worshipped by humans anymore, I guess. I don't know. She just didn't do anything for me. She seemed way too over the top for me to care about the villain or enjoy her character. Honestly, this film should have cut the Suicide Squad down. They should have cut down to Deadshot, Boomerang, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and Rick Flag, and eliminated Diablo, Slipknot, Katana, and the Enchantress. And they should have made this film about the struggle within the group, especially Harley Quinn, to have to go up against the Joker. That dichotomy of love and hate, fight or die, with Harley Quinn having to go up against her love and the Joker, or else she will die along with the rest of the crew. That would have left so much more time for them to explore their relationship. One that I was very excited to see on screen, and a much more natural way to explore these characters would have been left open, because my God, the way they do it is so stupid. They edit in all these obnoxiously colorful stack cards on the screen at the beginning of this movie with the words describing the villains and what they do and their abilities, and flash a couple quick scenes of their crimes. There's no natural progression for any of these characters. It's simply, here you go, these are the villains, we're just giving you expository flashcards, deal with it. And that debacle leads me to another aspect that killed me. The editing and pacing is a nightmare in this movie. All of the ridiculous sequences of blurred colors in the opening act, like we were on drugs while watching it, and then they completely drop it for the remainder of the film. And then there's nothing natural about the movie. Everything seems like it just happens with absolutely no build-up or development of its characters or situations. things just happened, no rhyme or reason. It left me feeling no emotional weight for any of the climactic situations, which in reality this film is really one big climax. At least that's how it feels, because not only are the scenes left hanging without build-up or any feeling of finality, but since the characters have almost zero arc or development, I could care less as to what happens to them. And don't tell me because they are villains that I don't care for them. Walter White is one of the greatest villains of all time, in my opinion. I was rooting for him up until the very end, because he had a character arc that was well written. I know it was a TV show, so a better example would be the Joker from The Dark Knight, who I still cared about. I always felt he was interesting in what he had to say and what he was doing because they fleshed him out with these on-screen monologues. And as I said, the pacing is awful. Almost the entire film feels like a day's climax with random lulls thrown in for these flashbacks. It was infuriating. I have one more issue with this film before I get to the tragically short list of things I enjoyed. The music. I'm sorry. What the hell, man? This soundtrack was so fucking stupid. Eminem in a DC comic book film. I mean, imagine if they had put that into Batman vs. Superman or Man of Steel. Films that are in the same universe as this film. So shouldn't they tonally match? I would have loved to have heard a creepy and darkly fun original score to go along with this whole film. Not a bunch of pop, rock, and rap songs that continue to tear down, twist, and convolute the inconsistent tone of this film. Alright, now I can relax a little. What did I like about this film? Unfortunately, very little. The film was often at its very best, for me personally, when they went back to scenes with the Joker looking for Harley and the origin story of their relationship. But those scenes were always rushed and shoved in the movie at strange times, and they were so few and far between that I was left frustrated with them as the rest of the film felt like a distraction from that story. I also liked Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. I thought she came across as this villain, controlling villains, but posing as a good guy, which was an interesting aspect of the film that was really frequently forgotten or pushed to the side for these obnoxiously ugly CG-filled shooting and fighting sequences. In all honesty, as I sit here typing this review, there's so little I can remember enjoying about this movie after seeing it last night, outside of the Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship, Amanda Waller, some of Deadshot, and the look of Killer Croc, who is never really explored, of course. That I just don't think I can recommend this movie for any reason at all. I would tell you it was an entertaining blockbuster with no substance that, was mindless fun, but honestly I was frequently agitated during the sequences that would have been entertaining because those sequences were so by the numbers and boring that I just didn't care. I would recommend seeing this for the Joker and Harley Quinn, but their scenes are so limited and short that it's not even worth it for that either. Honestly, save your money. Watch it when it's out on Blu-ray. I'm done talking about this movie, man. I'm so disappointed. I'm feeling a 3 out of 10, and only that high because I saw the potential this film had in certain moments and with its cast, director, and promised premise. But it all went down the drain. Hopefully, there's a cut of this film that's better on Blu-ray down the road. And please, God, let Wonder Woman be good. What a disappointment.
I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really.